Welcome on board. How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
How are you? Good. You having a good time?
Yeah.
Those white spots, those are his teeth. Real ivory, and then this is what they use to eat. No, I've been doing this for a while. Yeah. Off the Oregon coast?
There are some off the Oregon coast. I have a boat that's got it.
But it definitely will make you say, ow. Last year I heard the most god-awful sound coming from the bleachers over here, and there was a young lady. She was crying, her husband was laughing, she had that crab hanging off her fingers. It's funny now. Did everybody get some crabs? You can all say I came to Alaska and Dan gave me crabs.
Dungeness, D-U-N.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Nice day here in Ketchikan. It's been nice for a week, you guys. It's a pretty good deal. Anyways, my name's David. I'll be one of your captains today. Now, I've had 4 Bering Sea king crab boats. The Aleutian Ballad is just one of them. So I want to tell you how we got here. It was back in 1997. I was in Ketchikan, Alaska, right down the street at E.C. Phillips offloading halibut that day. And when I walked downtown, 2 of those cruise ships pulled up. Here come about 25 buses. And I'm looking at hundreds of people coming down that gangway. So now you know what I started thinking, huh? Not yet. I was up on top of the dock, and a guy pulled up in an 80-foot boat. And I said, "What are you doing?" He says, "I got 95 people coming off of those cruise ships, and I get to drive them around in the bayfront and show them Ketchikan from the water." That was it. Yeah. So it kind of pissed me off. You see, I'm a fisherman, and I've been out there for 40 years. And every time I go out there, I see something cool. And I'll bet you there's over 100 times more life in that water than you're ever going to see in the land up here in Alaska. And today you'll see both. You're going to see things up there you never thought you'd see. And we're going to catch as much as we can today to share with you guys. And that's how the dream started. It took about 10 years to put it together. The budget on this boat was like $800,000 to tear it apart, to bring you guys. By the time we got out of the shipyard, we spent $2.8 million. And it was worth every penny that first trip we had 5 guests. I'm telling you, I hope you find out why today.
All right, we're gonna pull some of these golden Alaskan king crab up out of the tank. We're gonna get them ready for the hot water. Me and Derek can relate to that hot water thing because we've been in hot water most all of our lives.
Pretty much.
So look, he's trying to go back in.
This guy's trying to go back to
He knows
sea.
his fate.
These crabs know their future, and it's not a bright one.
Okay, we're going to take these guys down on the dock. We'll get them cleaned up, ready for the pot.
Not going far.
Okay, very cool. So what are you doing now? Why did you bring them out here?
We're going to bring them out here, take their backs off, clean them, prepare them for cooking. It's the easiest to do down right on the dock. We're going to show you the crab fisherman's technique.
All right, if you're lucky enough to get your hands on one of these golden king crab, you might want to know just how to clean these things up. Now, the best method that works for us is to grab these crabs. You grab them up by the knuckles here. Grab all 3 legs on either side. Now, you're going to want to step on the tail or abdomen. It's a good idea to have a pair of rubber boots on, or at least a pair of shoes that you can wash off when you're done. You're going to get a little on you. You're going to lay these crabs down on their back, and you're going to place the toe of your foot right on the tail or the abdomen of this crab. Now, I would highly suggest you wear some gloves. These crabs have very sharp spines on them, and they will take a piece of you with them. So you pressure on that abdomen, and at the same time you press down, you pull up on those legs, and that back will peel right off for you. Now, once you have the back off, you're going to want to split these sections in half. You don't necessarily have to if you've got a pot large enough to accommodate a whole crab like that, but we usually split these sections in half. And now you're going to remove the lungs or the gills on the backs of this crab. You can easily do that just by grabbing them and pulling away. Now, many people discard the rest of that shell. They're not aware that there's a big chunk of meat waiting for you right up here in the tail or the abdomen of this crab. You just grab a hold of that tail and you can peel it right away from the shell itself. Reaching in, removing anything that looks like you might not want to eat it. The rest of this shell you can just discard over the side.
In '91, when I built my first crab boat, Derek Ray built the nicest Bering Sea crab boat that has ever fished. On his crab boat, you can carry 3 times more crab pots than this boat. Below your feet right here in these crab tanks, you can put almost 500,000 pounds of crab below the deck. There's places on the hull of that boat that are 1.5 inches thick steel. Now, he built that boat that thick so that he could drive up into the ice pack. In the wintertime, when that Bering Sea freezes over, that guy would go up into the ice. He would get behind a massive ice floe. He'd find a piece of open water. He'd lay his crab pots out, pick them up, lay them out, pick them up, follow that ice, fill that boat with crabs. And I know one time it took him 2 days at less than half a mile an hour to get outside of that ice, to the open ocean, to the safety of that water, to where he could deliver those crabs. Now, Derek's also been on the Deadliest Catch. He took over for Phil Harris, a good buddy of ours, Derek Ray.
Good morning, everybody.
Now, when you drive a boat, you hear about the best crew members out there, right?
Me, right?
Let me introduce the girls. Danny's first job up here was on that boat called the Maverick. Rick and Donna Kwasnick own that boat. He fished with them for about 5 years. We've had Danny for 16 years now in our company. He's the type of guy I can put him on the deck. I'll keep these guys awake 3 days sometimes straight, working as fast as they can. You're cold, you're tired, you hurt. Crew morale is huge. This man's going to be smiling no matter what. And you got to have a good crew morale on a boat. Danny's that guy, he'll give you 100% every time. Thanks, Danny.
I know some of the older residents of Ketchikan will remember the day they used to pickle the king crab tails. It was a big delicacy up here. Very rarely done anymore.
Really? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Can't answer that one for you. But everybody that comes down and we share the tail with them, they go, I remember eating pickled king crab tails. But you don't see them anymore.
So we've got 3 of them, 3 here. How many people will this feed if you're going to make a meal?
Oh, these 3 king crab right here, these are beautiful crabs. This would feed 10 people easily, 10 to 12. Beautiful salads, nice dinner.
And you guys have been selling some king crab off the boat, right?
We have been every year on the Aleutian Ballad. We come up here, we fish commercially up at Clarence Strait, Ernest Sound, catch crab for our tour. And we like to be able to come into town a couple times during the season and sell live crab off the Aleutian Ballad for the folks here in Ketchikan, something I know they don't get very often anymore.
So what does that run?
The crab this year we were selling them for $12.50 a pound. It just depends on market. So like an 8-pound crab is about a $100 bill, but it's a delicious meal for 6 people, really.
I know that, I've had one before.
And if you're going to invest that much into a meal, you better know how to clean and prepare these crabs properly. We've had many people walk off here with no idea on how to prepare these king crab. And many people don't realize that these crabs are right outside of Ketchikan here. There's actually a king crab season right here in southeast Alaska. There's some teeth right up inside these crabs also. Now these teeth are actually an ivory, most likely a low-grade ivory, but there's been people that have been known to make jewelry out of the teeth in the king crab.
Huh.
Okay, let's head up on board, get these guys ready to go in the pot.
What if I don't have that big of a pot at my house?
Now we understand that not everyone's going to have a beautiful stainless pot like we have here aboard the Aleutian Ballad. You can usually make do with any type of large stew pot. Obviously you see that they're a large crab. You need to be able to at least accommodate a half a section of crab. Fortunately, we don't have that problem here today. We've got a beautiful stainless cooker and it's got the removable basket here.
Oh, very cool.
So we're just going to lay our crabs right up into this basket, folding their legs and positioning them so that they all fit in there nicely.
And that's only for the fit, not necessarily for any sort of special cooking thing?
Exactly. It's just basically to get them all into one cook
Real
here.
estate, man.
That's right. Prime real estate inside this pot right here.
Okay.
And then we're going to throw our tails right on top of this. Like I said, cook
That
them.
was going to be my next question.
Cook 'em.
Are those going to cook any differently? No.
We're going to cook them right along with our crab legs right there. They're a little different textured meat than the legs and the body meat you see up inside here, but they're very good. Well worth keeping. So the first thing we're going to do is get this pot fired off. I guess I should have paused, huh?
One of the most important things is the salt water, the salinity in the water we use. We use seawater right out of the ocean. That's the best water. So when you're going to cook a crab, Michelle, you go down, taste the water in the ocean. You either pick out a bucket right here out of the Tungus Narrows for your cooking, if you're close to the ocean here in Ketchikan, or go up and salt your water and get it to taste just like the water at
Suddenly
Tungus
we see all
Narrows.
these people lugging buckets.
They'll be
up
lugging
from-
buckets, yeah, packing Tungus Narrows up into their kitchens. They could be, but that's about the salinity you want. It's perfect for cooking a crab.
Okay.
All right, we're going to fire this cooker off. Stand back. We don't want this to turn into a funniest home video episode. And there you go. Now all you have to do is wait for your water to come to a boil.
Wait.
Water to a boil. Rolling boil, baby.
How long are those going to go in for?
Well, here's what we're going to do. We've got our water, rolling boil right here. We're going to take our basket full of golden king crab and we're going to place it down into that boiling water. Now, when you set these crabs up into that water is going to stop boiling. And that's crucial to keep an eye on that. When that water comes back to a full boil is when we're going to start our timer. And we're going to cook them for just about 12 or 13 minutes once these crabs come back to a boil. So we're just going to cover it back up and we're going to keep an eye on our pot watching for that water to come back to a boil.
Okay, so dumb question. It may sound dumb. What if it's overcooked?
Well,
You just wasted $100.
it's very easy to overcook your crab, and that's why we're saying, I mean, no matter what you're cooking or preparing, it's a very good idea to keep an eye on what you're cooking. Don't throw your crab in the water, grab a beer, and go sit down and start watching football and forget about the crab you have cooking there. You want to keep an eye on your product. You don't want to overcook it.
Our main rule, Michelle, is we don't ever leave them in the pot more than 20 minutes once we put them in. That's it. Even on a cold day, you can't get it to come back to a boil. 20 minutes, get them out, shock them in cold water. Don't leave them in there any longer. The shells are thin, they cook very quickly. They do.
Okay, excellent.
Everybody knows what that is, right? That's a survival suit. That's what we get in when we're in trouble and you think you're going to have to go in the water or you go in the water. I've been in one of those and I don't want to do it again. But I want to tell you about the history of this boat. This boat fished for 23 years in the Bering Sea, and it has a big history. Now, back in 1991, there was a storm that came up the Aleutian chain. It was headed for the Bering Sea. Now when that storm got to Dutch Harbor, you know the big crane that lifts those 40-foot containers off of the ship, puts them on the semi-trucks? You see them going down the freeway. When the wind got up to 170 miles an hour, it ripped that crane right down to the ground. Now 160 boats were fishing that day, and these guys had no idea what was coming. The sea conditions got up to about 50 feet tall on average. Everybody was hanging on for dear life. There was a wave about 90 feet tall that hit this boat with such force that it knocked it onto its side. And then it pushed this boat and held it on its side. Right below your feet, these crab tanks. They're full of water. That's what keeps our crabs alive. The hole's that big, right? You're laying on your side now, the water comes out of that hole like that in less than a minute. Half of the water is out of this boat. The other half is on one side. So now you're laying completely on your side. 60-foot waves are coming over the top of the boat. Vance Jones told his crew, he said, you get in your survival suit. You leave your boots on, your pants on, you get it on. Zip it all the way up. You take that flap and you put it across your face as tight as you can get it, because this boat's going down. So one by one, they came out of that door, they locked it up, and those men jumped into the Bering Sea. 60-foot waves blowing up to 170 miles an hour, not a good scenario. The last thing Vance Jones did was he grabbed that radio and he called, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Our position is we're going in the water. There was a crab boat about 3 miles upwind. He turned around and he came down those massive waves looking for those men in the water. When he got there, his crab lights were searching. He was able to find every single one of those guys alive and put them on board his boat, saved them. And then they waited for that storm to subside, and he drove them back into Dutch Harbor. Of course, they got a motel room, and about 2 days later, Vance Jones, he gets a phone call from the U.S. Coast Guard commander out there. Vance, we found your boat out there floating on its side. This boat, the boat you're sitting on, is the only boat I know of that's ever been left for dead, abandoned in the Bering Sea to live another day. Should have never made it. They got to ride back out. They took some pumps, they got the water out of this boat, flipped it back up on its keel, fired it up, drove it into town. And then I bought the boat with a buddy of mine 2 years later.
You've got pots down there right now?
We do. We have front ones right here. Right off the dock where the Aleutian Ballad ties up. There's a lot of residents here at Ketchikan. I didn't realize Ketchikan has a front one right there off the dock. In the summertime, when the cruise ships are coming in and out, the harbor was not allowed to go. All winter long, along the barges here, everywhere, let them soak overnight, a couple days, pull them up. You know, it's fishing, so.
And how long have you had this one down?
We've had this down overnight.
Oh, sweet.
Look at that right there. That's what you can get right here off the docks of Ketchikan.
That's a good photo.
Alaskan spot prawns. It's as fresh as they get.
Oh, that totally rocks.
Well, these are commercially harvested right here in Ketchikan for 2 weeks in October, but sport fishing wise, you know, as the residents know, this is the land of plenty.
How come you always get starfish in the pots?
The starfish, those are actually sea stars. Okay. They're not fish.
Okay, woohoo.
The politically correct
They're
name.
always in the pots.
They're going to the bait. They're carnivore also, just like the prawns are. Mm-hmm. They smell the bait, they're going to eat it. That's what they're in there for.
For those gentlemen that are follically challenged, such as myself, it's a great replacement for a full head of hair.
Have fun in the Arctic later.
Good for any occasion. Thank you very much.
These are great. Look at that.
Pulling right by the back of the head there.
Right there? what would you make? What would you make with these? I mean, obviously they're good just as they are.
I mean, that's the mistake a lot of people make is they complicate their recipes far too much. I mean, simple is always better. We're gonna blanch these for you folks here a little later. Maybe saute them in a little butter and garlic, but other than that, you don't want to do much to them.
The other thing about these prawns, other thing a lot of people do, just like with the crab, don't overcook them. If you're gonna pop the heads off of them, once you get them, you just wanna boil them and eat them plain. Boil them for about a minute and a half till they float, get them out, shock them in cold water. Same thing. You boil them too long, they turn into a big chunk of bubble gum, and that's expensive bubble gum.
So, what's the most interesting thing that you've added to them, though, if you're just on a simple boil type recipe?
A pickling spice is something everybody loves to use more than just
There's
about
got to be
anything.
some other really cool ingredient that you could feasibly use in it.
You could use cayenne, Cajun stuff. You could use Greek seasoning. Why not? I mean, it's seafood. It'll take on just about anything. It really will. You know, especially once you're going to saute them with some pasta or something. That's one thing we do more than probably in anything is take the tails, peel them after they've been blanched. They're still a little tender. Throw them in a pan, a little light saute with any seasoning you want. Pasta,
Nice.
quick, easy meal. You can make it in 10 minutes. The time it takes to boil pasta.
Well, you're treating yours like a pet over there or something.
Oh yes. I don't want to become too attached though, because soon enough he's going to be dinner. That's the great thing about cooking is you can experiment any way you like. You really don't know until you try it. All right. Once again, boiling water is in your future.
Another great way, put them on the Barbie, shrimp on the Barbie, just like they like down under. You can smother these guys in a little balsamic vinegar and some olive oil.
Ooh, that sounds
Throw them
yummy.
on the grill, a couple minutes each side, give them a little sear, pull them off, delicious. Fantastic way to have them.
And to tell you the truth, you don't have to cook them at all. A little soy sauce and wasabi, peel that tail, and it's a very tasty treat.
So how many pounds do you think you have there? A couple?
We've got 7 or 8 pounds of prawns whole right here. Now we're gonna lose about 60% of the weight when we do take the heads off. I think Fisherman got approximately $12 a pound for these during the commercial season. So you can see you can harvest these right off the dock here in Ketchikan, Alaska. And you may want to check all your local fishing regulations before you set a pot.
I like it. Good information. Okay, everybody, our cooking time's done. We've got about 18 minutes on them. We've shut the cooker down. Dan's gonna get these babies out.
Oh, sweet.
Most important thing is do not overcook them. It took us about 3 minutes from the time we put them in to bring them back to a boil. We had a total time of 18 minutes. They're looking fantastic. And the other thing that a lot of people don't realize, the most important thing after you get done cooking with this beautiful product is to drop them into some cold water and shock them. Stop the cooking time. What it does, it helps that meat pull away from the shell, makes it a lot easier for us to clean these crabs. We're going to show you a great technique on how to get this meat out right after these chill down a little bit and take all the work out of it, hopefully for you. A lot of it. It still work, but make it a lot easier once we get those.
How long are you going to chill those for?
Oh, we're going to send them in there for about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Get the heat out of them, let that water circulate around. At home, in your kitchen, take your sink, fill it up with water, throw some ice cubes in it. That's all you got to do. Just have a nice chilled thing of water, or you can run the sink water over them, whatever you prefer to do. But the colder the water, the better when you put them in.
Is there a way to undercook crab?
Well, there is, obviously.
By not cooking it at
By
all?
not cooking it long enough. That would be, but you know, there are some people in the world that eat raw crab meat. You can do that. You can pull the viscous out, that meat, eat it with a little soy sauce and wasabi, just like any seafood, pretty much, if you want to eat it raw.
I like it.
But anywhere the 15 to 20 minute rule, 20 minutes max, no matter what, you're going to get it cooked properly. So
I see you're playing with a little tail down there.
I am, because it looks different.
And this again, like I said, a lot of people don't realize there's a big chunk of meat up in the abdomen or tail. All you're gonna do is peel that membrane away. And there comes a nice big chunk of crab meat. Now it didn't come out perfectly, but it still is a beautiful piece of crab meat. I tell you, you can make an excellent crab Benedict with this. It lays on top of that English muffin very nicely, little hollandaise sauce,
Yes.
mimosa, Sunday morning, football.
I'm getting hungry. What are we cooking?
I just heard an ooh from the backstage.
Not a lot of people like to eat. Oh, did I just say that? Cut.
Okay, just like on the tour, we're digressing. Is it September already, Dan?
Mid-season form.
We usually make it through June and July before that happens.
Here we are. Holy.
Okay, look at that. We're coming up on my favorite spot of the day, Dano. Man, and it's early too, isn't it?
Oh, it's never too.
You guys want to know why it's my favorite spot?
Yeah.
I get to start drinking. How's that sound? Huh?
You should be worried.
They should be if they knew the history, wouldn't they? We've been doing this tour for 8 years. We got these barrels. We found a spot here in this bay we can catch beer. How's that sound, you guys? Huh? What kind of beer you like? You know what the best beer is? Cold-free beer. That's the best beer. Now, the reason it took us long to start figuring out where these were, we were using the wrong bait. Come to find out, pretzels. That works the best. Yeah, exactly. We do have a couple kids on board. There might be a couple root beers in there. But also, this is a sovereign nation. No federal state regulations. Pops, you want them to have their first brewski? Right here's the spot.
Now, they do have to be 12 ounces or larger for us to retain commercial. Although I was caught drinking a 10 ouncer the other day. I call that the drink and release program. I participate in many programs. Early release, parole. They think I'm kidding. I like this new mic, it's louder. Hello, hello.
Works great.
They thought we were kids.
They did. See that?
Okay. Holy.
We got any Kiwis on board? We're going to need 2 barrels of... What do you got, Dano? Does everybody know what that is? That's a drunk octopus. He drank all the beer. That's a giant Pacific octopus, everyone. That one's about 30 pounds right there. The largest recorded one ever caught on the West Coast was supposedly 300 pounds and was caught in the Straits of Juan de Fuca in the state of Washington. We've caught them around 100 pounds in this bay. We probably catch 40 or 50 of them a summer. In the bay here, some mornings we come over, we haul up our king crab pot, show pot for you folks, and these guys will be in there eating the crab. They look at you like, what? We didn't do anything. When we bring them over, we put them in these barrels, we make them think about what they've done for a little bit. It's like time out. And we let them go after 3 or 4 days. If you're going to eat the show, you're going to be part of the show for a few days. Now, the lifespan of the giant Pacific octopus is 4 to 5 years. After 2 to 3 years, the females will develop eggs. Those eggs get fertilized. She lays them in an underwater cave or den along the walls. The gestation period is 160 to 180 days. Now, she does not leave those eggs. She stays with them the whole time, pumping clean water onto them, fresh seawater down there in that cave. Protect those eggs from predators. Usually, once the eggs hatch, she dies. It's the end of her lifespan. She does not have enough strength to go out and feed again. Obviously, that isn't true always. For some of them to grow to 100 to up to 300 pounds. They do have 8 legs or tentacles in there. They're a highly intelligent animal. They have the ability to think and reason things out. In aquarium settings, they put them in mazes. Take them 8-10 hours to get through the maze. Take them out for a couple days, put them back in. They zip right through it in an hour. They take food, put it in jars, screw on lids, different colored lids. They can see color. They put a food in there they don't want. They recognize the color. They don't unscrew that lid on that jar. Incredible creatures. They do have a brain. Look at that. That was close. They actually have 3 hearts. 2 of those hearts pump blood to the 8 arms or tentacles on them. The other one is for all the vital organs, which are inside the head or mantle, which is right in here. Now, the only solid thing in their body is their beak. Other than that, they're pure muscle. The reason they call it a beak is because it's just like a parrot's beak. It crosses over on itself. It's very sharp. It recedes back inside, right between the 8 arms or tentacles right in here. On that octopus, it's about the size of a golf ball, maybe a little bigger. Anywhere that beak can go, he can go. That octopus can go through a golf ball size hole. He'll elongate his legs out. This is just pure muscle. Same with the head or mantle. Stretch it out, they slide right through it. Absolutely amazing creatures.
You got the hang of it there. Oh, there's nothing on that tail that you can't eat.
All right. Oh, yummy.
Now it's got a little different texture than the leg meat or the claw meat. A little more, a little tougher, but as I said, it's still very good. And when you're paying almost $100 a crab, you want to make sure to eat everything you possibly can.
Absolutely.
Yummy. Very cool.
Okay, what do you say we get some of these crab out of here and
All right, let's
show the folks at Ketchikan how the easiest way to clean these crab. We've got them cooled off a little bit. You need a good pair of gloves so you don't poke yourself.
You see that beautiful color.
Drain these things off. Look at that.
Okay, show me the best way.
All right, we're gonna look for one of these Bering Sea hot dogs. And for the most part, all you need to do is break these crabs at the joint. And
No
there it is.
way. That never works for me.
And there it is. Well, that's where the chilling process comes in. It helps that meat, it not only arrests the cooking process,
This looks like a hot dog.
but it brings that, very expensive hot dog at that. It helps bring that meat up away from the shell.
It's super easy this way. Once you get these crab chilled down, you get a bowl out, you get these gloves on, you can get everything done very quickly. Then it's all over and done with. You get the crab clean, and then you can just sit down and enjoy this wonderful Alaskan king crab. Each section,
Awesome.
the knuckle section right in here, beautiful piece. Clear a little bit of the shell off on top. Peel this away. Take your finger, put it in there, a little shake, boom, got a beautiful piece of meat,
I
just
bet
like
everyone
that.
is sitting at home going, that never works that way for me.
But you have to do it right after you get it out of the chilled water. Like Dan said, helps pull that meat away from the shell. There you go.
What a beautiful product you end up with.
Oh, yeah.
And that right there, all by itself, is ready to go. And if you need to add anything to your crab, I suggest one of these. Or several, if you can handle it. You can move through a pile of crab pretty quickly. If you're putting up more crab than you're actually going to eat for your meal, I still suggest shaking that crab and vacuum sealing that product if you have access to a vacuum
That was going to
sealer.
be my next question. All right, so you've done this work. You know you're not going to eat this huge heaping bowl of crab. You can vacuum seal this, and then would it freeze well?
It freezes very well. You vacuum
Okay.
seal that product, and it's a good idea to, try to predetermine how much crab you would need for a specific meal or recipe, and then package them in that quantity. So that way when you want to make a salad, you've got a bag of crab that is just enough to make that salad. That way there's no waste.
No, I totally agree. That's awesome.
You see how easily that meat just pulls right out of the shell. Now you've got these tendons up inside. Sometimes you have to slide that meat out away from those tendons.
Just like that, clean it off. Get all the work done at once. So you
So
can
what
just
is the
sit back
most
and enjoy.
interesting crab recipe that you've ever heard of? Someone making, not maybe that you've tried, but something, the weirdest thing that you've ever heard of.
Well, it's actually a weird recipe. I can't really think of one offhand, but again, I think of, people taking this wonderful king crab right here, and next thing you know, they're mixing it with a bunch of creams and sauces, and they're making it into a big gooey dip. What a waste.
Yeah, totally.
If you want to go make a crab dip, go get yourself some surimi. If you want to have a meal, come get yourself some golden Alaskan king crab.
One of the other things, Michelle, every day on tour here on the Aleutian Ballad, we get people ask us, since we spent our whole life commercially fishing, you guys eat a lot of crab when you're out there? We really don't. It's actually against the law for us to eat king
Is it
crab while
really?
we're commercially
I
fishing.
didn't know that.
Every crab has to be accounted for. But occasionally we've seen a couple king crabs stumble into a boiling pot of water that had to be consumed. And our favorite thing to do when we do that is take your standard hot dog bun, put a little butter on it under the broiler, take this big beautiful piece of meat, lay it on there. We call it a Bering Sea hot dog. A little bit of coleslaw.
I love it.
A couple Alaskan ambers. Best lunch you'll ever have in Alaska.
Very cool. Yeah, I didn't know that you couldn't eat your own crab. Huh.
Doesn't seem right, does it?
It doesn't.
I bet those potato farmers can eat all the potatoes they want. No problem.
That's a good point. That's a really good
Come on, man.
So how long did you all fish for?
I've fished commercial fish myself for 25 years. I actually fished for Derek on the Siberian Sea for almost 7 years. I came to this company over 12 years ago and been doing the Bering Sea Crab Fisherman's Tour for the last 5 years.
I've actually spent 34 years commercially fishing up here in Alaska. 28 of those years were running boats out in the Bering Sea, Gulf of Alaska, up and down the whole west coast of the United States. So pretty much my whole adult life.
So did you fish for everything?
Everything. The only thing I've never commercially fished for is salmon here in Alaska. Other than that, I've ran trawlers, long lines, pot fish for just about everything we could do.
So what's your favorite thing to fish for and what's your least favorite? Because that's a long time of fishing. Is that
They're
like
all
a
my
secret you're not
favorite.
allowed? No.
Really, I enjoyed all fishing. I did. I really did. Everything. Everything had its unique challenges. Everything had its ups and downs. When you're chasing anything in the ocean, I mean, it's been a great life, great adventures. I mean, it's unbelievable how lucky we are, the lives we've got to lead. Up here in Alaska, I mean, the beauty, the things we get to see. People here in Ketchikan occasionally, you get to see the whales come right through Tungus Narrows here in front of town. I mean, we've been able to see whales jumping as far as you can see while we're out there. Just incredible.
Yeah, I heard that you guys saw one yesterday. Like, perfect.
We did, absolutely, over in Annette Bay on tour. Whale? Whale? James down. Okay, everybody, let's go. Let's get out to the rails. He says we got a whale. Hopefully it's not a whale of a tail.
No pushing and shoving. Keep the violence to a minimum. Wow.
It's a fantastic day over there.
Tell you, my favorite fishery is the one that pays the most. Show me the money, because it's all hard work.
You know, I think with the advent of the TV shows, and you were on Deadliest Catch.
Yes, I was.
With the advent of the TV shows, we were chatting a little bit off camera, and you were saying that it's just, the life is not what it appears on the show. Now, let's give them a little credit. They're making a show for entertainment, and it's done great things for Alaska, but it's just not like, you know, what you're seeing sitting on your sofa watching TV.
It's a little bit embellished, it is. It's a great lifestyle, and it is hard work. You're away from your families, it's hard on families, it's a young man's sport, it is, but on top of that, a lot of times it's not wind and rain and controversy and struggle every day. A lot of our fishing, we like it the most. Dan and I did. I know when he was working on deck for me, wanted it boring. That was it. Routine. Same thing over and over again. Pots come on board, crabs go in the tank, pots go back over the side. One pot after another, day in and day out. We didn't want the controversy, the problems. We didn't. It was about going out there, working hard together, coming home.
And taking some time off then, right?
Exactly. Taking some time off. Finding a white sandy beach with some Coronas instead of Alaskan amber.
Well,
you guys have really been fast.
I said we've just about moved through this pile of king crab. You can see it doesn't take a whole lot of effort.
I was going to ask you about this part right there.
Now this is the knuckle.
Yeah, I like that part.
I tell you, it is some of the best meat. Now a lot of people ask if there's any body meat in these king crab, and really there isn't. But what comes closest to body meat is this knuckle meat, which is right up next to the body.
And there's really no difference in terms of cooking them, the difference, say, between king crab and dungeons.
For the most part, you're gonna go through the same process, boiling salt water. The only thing that may change a little bit for you is the time. When I cook Dungeness, I may cook them for a couple minutes longer. Now, lots of times it's personal preference, but the most important thing, at least in my opinion, is that you do not overcook your seafood. It is one of the worst mistakes. So many people will cook that crab too long and they just destroy the product.
A lot of people do enjoy whole cooking Dungeness. That is the other thing. Just depends on your personal
That's yummy.
preference.
As you can see, you're going to make a little mess. So you want to get yourself set up, especially if you don't have the option of doing this outside, such as we are, where we just open up the deck hose. If you're going to do it inside your kitchen, you may want to put down some newspaper and get set up to make a little bit of a mess.
So if I were to come down, I'm trying to be all serious here now. But if I were to come down with a family of 4, would one of the king crabs be adequate, you think?
One 7, 8 pound king crab will easily feed 4 people.
Okay.
All right.
Nice, good
We're
job,
looking
guys.
good. We're just about there. It's almost time to eat. Might want to get a hammer for that job.
MS-13, dog. Oh, that's my gang sign. Oh, man.
That'll work.
Just
Ah, it's a dangerous job.
somebody's
it.
got to do it.
It's still all over my face.
So if you're doing
Not
this
so
with
much
another
here,
person,
but kind of all over here. You know, a little in your hair and up by your lip. And we might want to break for makeup. I'm sorry. Shauna should have warned you. We could do an episode of Dirty Jobs. All right, those are a lot of work. A lot more work than I'm looking to put into them.
So why are those a lot of work?
Well, you can see, I mean, the shell up in here by the smaller, the feeder claw. I don't think we touched on the characteristics of the king crab, but they've got the one big beastie claw. Call that the crusher claw. Then they've got a smaller feeder claw here. Now you get up into these claws, there is some excellent meat up here. I'm not going to pound him, don't be afraid. But the shell is much thicker, and so they are a little more work to get into. I tell you, we don't have one out here on the table with us, but a walnut cracker is excellent. Same thing you would use for a Dungeness crab, a crab cracker of sort. Pounding them with your fists, such as I did, is not recommended at home.
no.
Nice. Good job.
Nice work.
Oh yeah, look. Miss Shauna shows up with the butter.
Every time you take a dip, you're going to have to make another trip to the gym.
Oh gosh. Those lip smacking.
That butter does add some excellent flavor, but I tell you, this crab all by itself, it's so rich and flavorful.
That totally rocks.
That's one of the reasons we all want to live in Alaska, right there. It's fantastic. Wow.
Very cool. All right. Thank you so much.
You bet. Now, we're going to move over. We're going to prepare this water for the prawns, so it'd probably be a good time to do your girl stuff in there.
Hit the galley. So we've been outside, that was super cool. Now we're actually in the galley of the Aleutian Ballad, and you have a super cool recipe to share.
Well, for anybody that knows me, I actually don't eat seafood. I know, don't hate me. I can hear people screaming across
Haters everywhere.
Ketchikan. I know. And of course, there's that famous Ketchikan recipe for crab and brie. So I have a little spin on crab and brie for those of us that don't actually.
Or can't. Some people are allergic.
Exactly. And this is kind of just a fun pun on crab brie. So it's really, really simple, and it's already assembled here. This is the assembly before we bake it.
Oh, nice. Look at that.
So it's just, you can take crescent rolls or just,
So
you know,
let's move
puff
this over here.
pastry.
Check it out.
And it's not assembled yet, but you take your brie, you just scrape off all of the rind, the white part that comes on it, and you put it right there in the middle of some crescent rolls maybe, or some puff pastry.
I love it.
A little bit of brown sugar on top, and then I just chopped up some pecans, sauteed them in some butter with some cinnamon, of course, put those
very
on
cool.
top, closed it all up around, and I made all my little legs here with the crescent rolls. And I made, of course, you can see this one has got the claw.
How cool is that?
The claw.
What a
and
neat
little
party
pecan
idea.
eyes. So this will go into the oven for about 10 minutes. And 10 minutes after that, we take the little crescent roll parts out, let the main part bake for another 10 minutes for a total of 20, and then we assemble it on a plate, and it looks like a crab
Oh, I can't wait.
brie.
Sweet. I love it. I'm taking
Genius.
this to a party tomorrow.
Okay.
For sure.
We'll put it in the oven.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Good job.
All right.
Okay, back in with the Admiral of the Aleutian Ballad, but you have another really fresh summer recipe too.
We do.
So do share, because I'm already looking at the ingredients and going, numb.
Okay. So once the guys have cooked all their crab, they always want a little bit of greens. So I'm making a spinach feta salad. So you're just going to take some spinach, some other lettuce. And you can put actually a lot of things in here, but we kind of have our standard favorites. We're going to put some strawberries.
And look, she's already pre-prepared. I love it. Efficiency on the boat, in the galley.
And when you're cooking on a boat, that is the main reason. The key to success is having everything prepared, because a lot of times when you're on the boat is moving. So people don't understand that when you're moving, a lot of times you've got to have your sea legs about you. So having everything prepared is
smart.
The key.
So what's the worst thing that weather that you've ever cooked in when the boat's moving?
Oh, probably about a 20-foot sea. And when we do that, we have to put cans inside the oven so that the pots don't move around.
I saw that. I was wondering why those were in there.
Yeah, so we put cans inside on the racks.
I didn't think it was like a secret garbage stash or something like that.
Then you can position the pot or the pan inside the oven so that it doesn't move around.
I gotta look at that again. That's so cool.
Got the cans there.
Oh my goodness.
The worst thing I've actually had is a pot of spaghetti that was on the stove, and again, we have racks that we would normally have on here. So when you're in rough seas, again, your pot's not spilling. But I had turned myself over to here, and the next thing I knew, the pot of spaghetti had flown across the floor.
Wow. So now the racks, do they go, I see some screws in the back there.
Yeah, they would go on here, and it kind of corrals your pot onto the stove.
Fascinating.
So we do a lot of crock pot cooking.
Okay.
Just for that reason, so that you put everything into the pot.
Then you don't have to worry about it.
You don't have to worry about it. So.
Okay, I never knew that.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to put on here is just the crumbled feta.
And how many people would you normally be cooking for on the boat, say if you're commercial fishing?
Well, typically we would have a 5-man deck, so we'd have 5 people that I would be cooking for. But you have to remember that the guys usually only eat 1 meal a day. So you're cooking a big meal. They're not eating a lot of food throughout the day. My husband doesn't believe in feeding his crew. Usually they've got peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, so when they come in, they want a nice meal prepared.
Okay.
So it's usually a bigger meal. So your little
So
feta.
run in, grab a sandwich, go back out to work, and then when it's all said and done, then they get the big meal.
Exactly. At the end of the day, they have a big meal. So I like to put nuts. These are slivered almonds with honey roasted cranberries.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Cranberries, craisins. I like to add a lot of fruit to mine. These are my staple.
Oh yeah.
Maple pecans, good old Costco. So I just crumble a few of those in here.
All right, cool. Ooh, that looks yummy.
Very good. And then you can do either a raspberry vinaigrette. Today I have a balsamic vinaigrette. So you're just gonna.
Now here's the thing. So many people go overboard on how much dressing that they. You just put a little tiny bit.
Just a little tiny bit. Figure they can always add a little bit more. Toss it around.
Now, would you mix the crab in there with that?
You know what? You could. I typically don't, just because I like a little bit of fresh, simple.
Nice.
But you could. You could.
Look at that.
Fruit and spinach salad. The other side of the Bering Sea.
Yeah.
We're gonna haul up some Alaska spot prawns. The reason we call them Alaska spot prawns is because we're in Alaska today. You can actually catch these prawns from southeast Alaska all the way down off the western Canadian coast, Oregon, Washington, clear down to northern California.
They're highly sought after. The commercial season for them here in southeast Alaska is in the first 2 weeks of October. The fishermen get around $10 a pound for them. You can catch these things right off the dock in Ketchikan there, right where you guys walked down onto the Aleutian Ballad this morning. Dan has a pot hanging off the dock right there. He catches prawns just about every morning.
Basically the Forrest Gump of Ketchikan right here.
That's him.
Oh, we got a couple, moving everything.
All kinds of stuff in there.
Now this is a long line style of gear. Several pods all stacked into the same main line here. Very efficient way to haul gear. Once they start coming, they just keep coming. Good crew could probably run a couple thousand pots in a 24-hour period. 100 pots in one string. Once we get these on board, it's more hands-on. We're going to let you folks come forward and check these things out. Look at that ball. All right, we're just getting ready to move over to the prawns. Those Alaskan spot prawns we caught right off the dock here in Ketchikan. Now we've got some more salt water boiling here. And our
We have some pickling spice that my mom always likes to put in whenever she bakes the prawns for us.
This is our local spice girl, Chelsea Smotherman here. Add a little spice to that.
Shake away, Chell.
And we're just going to let that pickling spice just come to a boil with that water. So that water is just infused with that pickling spice. It's going to add a wonderful flavor to our prawns. We'll just give this a few more seconds and we're almost at a rolling boil here.
Nice job, Chell.
We're going to boil these heads on. Now you do have the option of taking the heads off, but I like the flavor that that full body cook gives of leaving the heads on and removing it after we've cooked these prawns. Now we're just about there. I can see the steam start to peel out from the seams of the lid.
About ready to go, Dano?
Pretty damn close.
We need smell-o-vision right now. The pickling spice is very good coming out of there, isn't it?
Oh, it's a wonderful aroma. Reminds me of chai tea, in fact.
Gets us in the holiday spirit. A little Christmas scent.
Welcome aboard the Aleutian Ballad.
The chaos and shenanigans continues. Look at that.
You look all cleaned up. No more crab juice on your face.
Exactly.
I did a wardrobe change too.
I guess the one thing we didn't cover is the people here in Ketchikan that do have their own personal boats. These spot prawns aren't available just along the dock here. It is all over Tungus Narrows, Clarence Strait, down to Bold Island, all along the inside passage. Just about everywhere you go, anywhere from about 250 feet down to 800 feet of water, right in there. Steep edges. You're going to find these spot prawns pretty much everywhere. You really are. It's amazing.
Here's my question. You're going to go out all summer grabbing crab, prawns, the whole 9 yards. We kind of already touched on crab. Is there a deadly mistake that you can make, no pun intended, if you're going to freeze your spot prawns?
We've used a couple different techniques. And probably the worst thing you could do is just throw them in a Ziploc bag, freeze them raw like that. We put them in containers before with water. That works well. I know Dan's latest technique is his wife's been taking them, blanching them, peeling them, and they vacuum seal the meat just barely blanched. You bring it out, you basically got a raw, wonderful prawn meat. It's all prepared. Open it up. You can saute it, steam it, boil it, fry it, whatever you want to do with it at that point.
So back to the putting them in water. So you could perhaps have a container raw, throw them in water, freeze the water, then essentially you've got a block of ice to put out in your...
Exactly. That's what we used to do. Is we take the Ziploc containers, right down to the grocery store, break the tails off, take the tails off, set them in there, cover it with water, put it in your freezer, freeze it. They're frozen in the water. That way it keeps it from drying out, freezer burning. And then you just need to put them in your sink, let them thaw out. It probably takes 3 or 4 hours, let them drain, and then they're ready to peel, boil, fry, however you want to do it, basically. And after they are frozen,
They can't hurt you.
they peel a lot easier after they've been frozen if they are raw.
Really?
Versus just trying to peel that prawn right now without blanching or freezing or anything else. It does help a lot. So.
All right, well, I think we're just about ready to go in the water. We've got a rolling boil here. Here we go. No turning back now.
Now, this is only going to take about 3 or 4 minutes. We don't want to overcook these. We're doing these head on. You can take the tails off, just boil the tails if you want to, blanch them like we said, peel them, saute them, multiple different things. But with the head on, you get that shrimp juice in there, that wonderful head goodness. A lot of people like to suck the head. You know, it does. So it'll keep them a little more tender.
water. Now we're not going to cook these nearly as long as we cooked our king crab. We're probably only going to give them 3-4 minutes, and they will be fully cooked inside there. And then we're going to do the same thing. We'll take them from this boiling pot of water over to our ice bath over here, where we'll chill them down and we'll help arrest that cooking process. And once again, helps that tail come away from the shell a lot nicer. And you know, back to those freezing methods. When you are freezing them in those blocks of ice, they're not going to hold nearly as long. The vacuum seal product, it'll last a good year. It will come out of that pocket, that vacuum seal pocket, just as fresh as it went into it.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's see what we got. See where we're at. We're starting to float a little.
We're pretty darn close.
Give them about 1 more minute, you think?
Another minute sounds good to me. I tell you, if you got one of these, it sure helps keep the kids in line.
And the show host.
That's right. No one's safe aboard this vessel.
Oh, those look fantastic, Dan.
Oh, look at that.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Just the smell alone makes your mouth water. And right to the chilled bath.
Another technique with the pickling spice. We just dropped it into the pot. If you've got some cheesecloth laying around, you can take that pickling spice, make a nice bundle in that cheesecloth, drop it in there, the water's coming to a boil, and it's it. Then you don't get the pickling spice all over the prawns. Keeps that nice flavor in there.
Perfect, that's what I'm
Pull
doing.
that out, clear it out. You don't have to worry about it.
Ah, and they look beautiful in there.
Okay, carry on.
All right. These prawns are about ready to be deheaded and peeled. Look at that. That's really all you need. Big old pile of those spot prawns and some Alaskan beer.
Wow, look at that. That is beautiful, Dan.
Heck, if you don't have any friends, you get some spot prawns and some beer, you'll find a few.
They'll show up.
Now here we're just gonna pop these heads. Then I always, when I'm shelling them, I pop the tail off and I work my way up there and it just slides right out. Look at that. That is nice.
Beautiful meat. Also, these heads, you don't want to save them. You could reboil them again. Strain it out in cheesecloth once again. Make a beautiful shrimp stock with it. Throw in some carrots, onions, celery, whatever vegetables you got laying around. Boil it an hour and a half. Makes a beautiful stock. Make some rice with it. Just about anything. A fish chowder. It'd be wonderful.
The recipes are endless with these spot prawns. Once again, it's a shame to do too much with them. They're so flavorful all on their own. Make wonderful salads, stir fries, kebabs.
So I take it you're getting hungry already?
Don't, I'm always hungry, baby.
And you're always full of it too.
I did.
Okay, so how are you doing this?
Okay, here we are. I grab it right by the head. I just give him a little bit of a pinch and just twist that tail right off.
Right
yep, there you go. Just pinch and twist the tail and pull. There you go. Saving the heads right over
Well,
here.
mine has goop though, and yours doesn't.
Well, they're all going to have a little
okay.
goop. Once
Goop's
again,
good.
if it doesn't look edible, clean it away.
Oh, sweet.
Then I just pinch the tail off. Let me start there. I went ahead without you there. Just like that. I take that little tail, pop it off, kind of squeeze as I pull, and then I just peel from the top, take that top layer off, and voila.
Okay.
Right on out of there.
Okay, I'm not a pro like you guys.
We understand.
Well, I'm all about putting in the effort and then sitting down and enjoying. Get all the work out of the way.
Agreed. Is that why you took 3 beers to your side of the table?
That's right. It's going to take that to get the work done.
This, as Derek says, well worth taking the time to take care of your seafood properly. There's nothing worse than letting a wonderful product, such as these prawns, go to waste simply because you didn't take care of them properly.
Oh, I totally agree, yeah.
Once again, the more hands, the merrier. If you got any extra hands standing around, feel free to join in.
So tell me this, what got you guys into commercial fishing? What's your backstory?
I'll let Derek go ahead first.
Well, for me, it was a matter of growing up down in Oregon in a logging town. Father was a logger, going to be a logger just like him. But 2 months before I graduated from high school in 1980, which was a feat in itself.
Congratulations.
Yeah, they laid off all the men in that town working for that logging company, and pretty much just walked the docks, found a job on a fishing boat down on the Oregon coast, and that boat just happened to be headed to Kodiak, Alaska about 7 days later. Next thing I knew, I was in Kodiak, and I was a commercial fisherman.
Myself, as I displayed with my beautiful gap swing, or golf swing as I referred to it as, I was going to be a golfer. I was going to school down in San Jose, California, playing on the golf team, living the dream. And I got an opportunity to come north to Alaska. My very first fishing job was aboard the boat called the Maverick. Many people have seen that boat featured on The Deadliest Catch. The plan was to go up, fish.
Is it like a summer job?
Oh, it's a winter job.
Okay.
Boys are winter. Crabs are in the wintertime. Salmon in the summer. So I fly up to St. Paul, Alaska, meet the Maverick. Plan is to make some money, went to paleo fishing, and then hopefully go back and continue my schooling and working on my golf game. Unfortunately, the worst thing that happened to me was I made a bunch of money. Decided I didn't need school or golf, and spent the next 25 years commercial fishing up here in the Bering Sea. Or up in the Bering Sea, I should say.
So what did your parents think about that?
Well, I can't say they were terribly happy when I dropped out of school. But as a young man, no one was going to tell me any different. I was going to find out for myself, one way or the other.
With all that money, you could buy a golf swing.
That's right.
Didn't work out that way, though, did it?
And now I get to spend my days here in Ketchikan, sharing all my wonderful fishing experiences with
that's true.
folks from all over the world.
What is the weirdest thing a tourist has ever asked you?
To marry them. I had to deny because I have a beautiful wife at home waiting for me.
Probably one of the craziest ones I've heard is a gentleman asking us why things are so expensive up here in Alaska. We'll explain to him that we live on an island here in Ketchikan and things have to be flown in or barged in. He looked serious at me and said, "Does that mean water goes all the way around?"
Yeah.
That would be the definition of an island, sir. Yes, it does.
People have asked if it rains salt water here.
Really?
Many of them don't understand that we're not in the Bering Sea. But I tell you, it is. It's a wonderful experience. We spend our days during the summer sharing so much, not only about the commercial fishing industry, but about this beautiful state. I mean, commercial fishing is such a huge part of what Alaska is. And, you know, for us to have the opportunity to help educate people from all over the world, once again, I said it's a wonderful opportunity. I never would have imagined when I was a young man standing aboard the frozen deck of the Maverick that one day I'd be standing out here in the sunshine sharing these wonderful stories with folks, once again, from all over the world.
That's cool.
This might be a good time to point out that locals here that live here in Ketchikan do get a special rate with us here on the Aleutian Ballad. You can go to our website and find that. And on Sundays,
great.
I believe it's even better. That one day out of the week, I think it's $79 for anybody that lives here in Ketchikan to come aboard the Aleutian Ballad and come out and see what we do.
And a great tour to take family and friends that are visiting on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we pretty much cover everything across a section of Alaska. Once again, if they're big Deadliest Catch fans, we'll kind of fill in the blanks for them a little bit. It's the only place you can reach out and touch a live Alaskan king crab, hold some snow crab, live octopus, multitude of things.
You're getting the hang of this.
I love seafood.
We've almost worked our way through the pile, and then I think we're going to turn it over to the girls once again.
Well, let's see. It's getting hot. It's very sunny. Each of you have 3 beers on either side of the table, and you're quickly wanting to turn it over to the girls.
Let's do a count when they come back out.
Yes, we will do a beer inventory when we return.
king crab meat there. I mean, that's probably 10 pounds of meat. Retail price, you're probably going to pay $80 to $90 a pound for just meat like that. So you've got quite an expensive feast, and a very tasty one at that.
And the simplicity of it, once you know how to do it and take care of the product, it really is easy to deal with. You know, we cooked it up, boiled it, cooled it off, shook it here. It took us what, all about
hour and a half,
yeah,
maybe.
total.
And that's
at
because
that.
we were too busy socializing.
And now we can sit here. We got Denise. We're going to plate up a beautiful spinach and strawberry pear salad. Throw a little king crab on that. Throw a little prawns on the side. We boil those up. Took us 3 minutes.
Yep,
boil
exactly.
those up.
Love it.
Peeled them up. Another
And
10,
Shauna's
15
beautiful
minutes.
brie.
We got this brie cooked up
crab
wonderful.
over here.
Centerpiece right there for everybody. We can have a little bit of that on top of it. So
Looking good. Good job, guys.
fantastic. I would like to thank everybody for coming aboard the Aleutian Ballad with us today on this beautiful sunny afternoon. We're going to sit back, enjoy our feast after our hard work today in Alaskan Amber. Hopefully you too will come on board the Aleutian Ballad. See us on Sundays on our tour. Any day of the week you can come with a local special. Bring your friends and family with you. And come visit us on our tour. That was really good. I got to give you some of that.
I think this is diet.
No, this isn't.
Yeah,
on
this
the
is
diet.
diet crab.
How many calories does fresh crab have?
It's not
A lot of
bad.
fat. I actually don't know.
It's high in
I can just tell you that
It's high in
when
cholesterol.
yes.
Very
Who
little.
wants to live forever anyway?
I'd rather eat good.
I just have to deal with the guilt from my past longer.
And there's a lot of minerals in it too, because our blood is iron-based, that's why it's red. Their blood is copper-based, that's why it's clear. Got a little tidbit for you.
You're just a wealth of knowledge.
I didn't either.
There you go. Dan learned something today.
Yeah.
I like these prawns, man. We cooked these.
don't eat it, it's bad for you.
We rocked these prawns, man. They cooked perfect.
Go in 3, 2.
Did we get one yet?
Yeah.
Oh, I go after two?
I see you hire very shy people.
We're gonna work on our golf swing. Head down, feet shoulder width apart. Main thing is you stay steady over the ball. And even after impact, you keep your head down and just let that follow through happen.